What's going on YouTube? So of course the Honda Civic has long been known as one of the best affordable and fun sedans on the market. And that's only getting better for 2025.
That's right, we're in beautiful Montreal, Canada today to check out the refreshed 2025 Civic and also check out the super efficient hybrid setup.
So, with nearly 50 miles per gallon and 200 horsepower, is this the best all-around Civic that Honda has ever created? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's get things started here under the hood. So with this Civic, we are gonna have some, of course, powertrain changes. Basically, in effect, Honda's new hybrid Civic replaces the previous 1.5 turbo. So you'll no longer find that in the lineup, and instead you'll get this hybrid system. So this is a two-motor hybrid system. Power is going to be 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine and 2 electric motors. Now, as far as your transmission, it's gonna be an eCVT, and your overall fuel economy is coming in at an impressive 49 miles per gallon combined.
Now there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to the powertrain experience, and we can't wait to dive into that later on when we take this out on a test drive. On that drive, we'll be getting things like our signature sound level reading, and we're also going to be including an element into our reviews, a predicted resale value and reliability, which is a new thing that we're adding.
But first, let's go ahead and close up the hood because we have to look at the changes that Honda's made to the exterior as well as the interior for this refreshed 2025 model. So starting off here with the exterior design, of course, you're not gonna notice a gigantic change in terms of the overall look. Honda typically doesn't change a ton of things when it comes to a refresh, and indeed that is going to be the case for the Civic. But I think that's actually a good thing because this has always been a very, very handsome sedan in my opinion. Now, that's not to say there are no changes, so let's kind of talk about that for a second. You'll notice up here in the front, we have this honeycomb grille. This is gonna be finished in a gloss black design. And then of course, you've got the larger lower fascia also in a honeycomb design. So for the hybrid models though, you're gonna have a couple additional details. That's the fact that this piece right here underneath of the headlight is going to be finished in body color, as well as this piece on the lower fascia. And this seems like a good point. I should go ahead and mention the trim levels. So this has been revised for 2025. It's actually reduced from last year. You're looking at an LX trim and a Sport trim. Then you go to Sport Hybrid and then Sport Touring Hybrid models. So that's how the structure is going to be broke down, 50-50 hybrid and gas trim levels. Now, moving to our headlights, as you can see, we continue to have a full LED unit. These are reflector LED headlights, but we have the very premium daytime running light and turn signal indicator built in. Now, as we move to the rear design, there's not going to be any radical changes back here, but Mason will tell you the big change.
There are two changes for 2025, so let's go ahead and dive into that. Now, the major change for design would be the taillight. So the overall shape and look of this taillight is very similar to the pre-refresh model. However, Honda has darkened it out for 2025 to give you that sportier look. And Drew's gonna go ahead and see if all the taillight elements are LED. We have an LED brake light portion, incandescent reverse light, and incandescent turn signal indicator. So 1 out of 3 elements are LED for this 25 Civic. The other change for this model is, of course, the hybrid badge here on the back. That's going to signify that you now have this hybrid system under the hood. And then this whole lower diffuser area is going to be body color. You're not going to have any exposed exhaust outlets for 2025, so do keep that in mind.
Now, another change that Honda made that I think actually makes a pretty big difference is going to new wheel designs for 2025. Now, the base LX, that comes with 16-inch steel wheels with hubcaps. However, all the rest of the models will come with 18-inch alloy wheels, and the Sport Touring specifically will get this contrast design. I really like the way this looks with the gray finish and the accents, giving it a very unique overall appearance. Now, as we move above here, you're going to find black finish on your mirrors for all of the sport grade models. And speaking of that, now for 2025, the Sport trim level is going to gain blind spot monitoring. That's Sport trim is the volume selling model, so it's definitely good to see that blind spot monitoring is standard on that Sport grade and above, as well as heating.
Now here at the side of the Civic, you're going to notice that you have that same overall shape, and as far as vehicle length, it comes in at 184 inches long. Honda is still going to offer the Civic hatchback as well, so keep that in mind that that's an additional choice for you. Now, before we get any further, I do want to mention, if you've noticed this giant prototype vehicle badge here on the side, that this is a prototype vehicle. So some things are still slightly subject to change. However, Honda assured us that this is going to be very close to the production version of the Civic. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, for 2025, we're going to have the entire gamut of safety features as standard equipment. So that's even going to include things like adaptive cruise control with a traffic jam assistant. But guys, there are some changes on the inside, so let's go ahead and dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the interior where there's some new treats, including technology hiding inside. But first, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Typical Honda key fob on board here. Your small kind of pebble-shaped key fob. You do have a smart entry as well as remote start beginning at the sport trim level. And then getting inside, just reach behind the handle and that will unlock the door. All right, now taking a look inside, just like with the exterior, we're really looking at the same kind of thing. So basically, small changes that add up to making a meaningful difference, and we'll get into those individual differences in a second. Let's talk about the seats first of all, though. So what you're looking at right now is a real leather seat. This is exclusive to the Sport Touring trim level. The LX will come with cloth seating, and then the Sport comes with a leatherette and fabric combination seat. You're also looking at an exclusive color option, so we do have the gray finish. You can't get gray seats unless you choose a hybrid version. Now, the seats themselves are going to be 8-way power adjusting. That's up from the 6-way power that you get on all the other trim levels, but be aware that you never have lumbar support even on this loaded Sport Touring trim level. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now that we climbed inside, you know what time it is. It's time to check out the overall cabin materials. So let's start out with our door trim. Over here, we do have a nice leatherette with a stitching detail. We have the gray leatherette that matches the seats to the center section, and then the top part of the door trim is soft touch. As we move to the upper dash, this continues to be a soft touch plastic. We have a premium piano black finish that's going to run around that single vent effect with the kind of honeycomb look. And then down here on your lower panels is going to be hard touch, and then we have a faux carbon fiber through the center section. In terms of changes for 2025, not really anything with the materials, but that's a good thing because Civic has always had one of the most premium, just well-rounded cabins in the entire segment. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. And now that's fired up here, let's go ahead and get into some specific details of the interior. We'll start off with the gauge cluster. So just like last year, if you choose the top trim level, this one, you get the 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster on board. The other trims will come with the half-and-half setup where you have the 7-inch digital display and then the analog on the right-hand side. Overall, you can, of course, change various elements of the design here, and the graphics are very crisp and well done. Now, as Mason kind of pulls back here, you're going to see that we have rain-sensing wipers here on the Sport Touring trim level. And almost all the trims are going to come with this nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. It has a very premium look to it. Nice cross-stitch through there. It is manual tilt and telescoping. Heating is not available. All right, let's turn over here to our center console because Civic has always been known for having a lot of storage, especially because this is a compact sedan, but as you can see inside of the center console, unlike most compact sedans, it has plenty of space. You'll notice we have donuts inside. That's because this is Car Confections, and we like to do the donut test. We see how many donuts fit inside the center console, and you'll be impressed to know that this fits 11 donuts. That is certainly going to be a lot more space than what you would get in a Corolla, for example. Now, as I shut that lid there, you can see we've got 2 cup holders. Up in the very front here, we have a wireless phone charging pad. You'll also notice a 2025 update, and that's the fact that we now have the modern USB-C connections right there for the latest and greatest phones. All right, now as we pull back to the shifter, Honda, even though this is a hybrid, sticks with a nice traditional shifter. A lot of you guys will be happy to see that. Pull back for drive. Right there is your reverse. When you go into reverse, you'll find this standard backup camera on every single trim level. This does give you 3 different views that you can switch between, and if you want front and rear parking sensors, you will need to choose the loaded sport touring trim. Then back behind that, we have our drive mode selection. We also have our electronic parking brake and brake hold function. Now, continuing up the dashboard, we have basically unchanged climate controls, which I'm very happy to see because these are some of my favorite climate controls in the industry. Extremely premium for an affordable sedan. I love this clicky sound that it makes when you change the temperature up and down. It'll be a single zone automatic setup on your lower models, dual zone automatic on the hybrid versions. Also, the hybrids are going to come with 3-stage heated seats located right over there. And another knob finished in the same way as those climate controls is our volume knob for the audio system. So on this, you're going to start with 4 speakers on the LX trim level. The middle trims come with 8 speakers. And then if you get the fully loaded Sport Touring, you have a 12-speaker Bose sound system. Let's go ahead and give that a sample right now. Yeah, very nice. This certainly remains, I think, one of the very best sound systems in the segment. All right, so let's take our attention now to this main display. So as I was talking about earlier, there are some technology upgrades that are definitely worth talking about, and you will see them present here with the Sport Touring. But first of all, I do want to talk about the screen size. So this is the 9-inch display. This is going to come on just the Sport Touring. All the other grades are going to come with a 7-inch display. And there are going to be differences because of that. So the big change for 2025 is if you get this model with the 9-inch display, you now have the more advanced Honda Link software, which includes Google Apps built in. So you can see right there, we have our Play Store, we have our Google Assistant, and we have things like Google Maps built right into the system natively. So that's certainly a very nice touch to see for 2025. Now you do still have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well with this 9-inch display. You just saw that I was in that system just a second ago. Be aware though, if you have one of the other trims with the 7-inch display, it is going to be a wired Android Auto and Apple CarPlay connection, and you won't have those Google apps built in. Now up top here, this loaded model does come with the auto dimming mirror. And then you also notice that we have a sunroof. This sunroof is going to be included on your Sport Hybrid trim level and above.
Now the Civic has always had a really nice rear seat, and for 2025 that is going to continue to be the case. So we're sitting at one of the largest rear legroom figures in the entire segment, 37.4 inches of legroom, 37.1 inches of headroom. Really good figures. Like I said, it's better than Corolla, better than stuff like Elantra, so it's just a good amount of space overall. Now, one of the things we do in all of our Car Confections review is we bring a ruler along so we can see how much knee space you can expect for someone who's 5'9" like myself, sitting behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. We're sitting at a solid 6.5 inches of knee space, so that's a really good amount for a vehicle in this class. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat, so overall, I'm very comfortable. And the rear seats are very comfortable as well. Now, as far as features are concerned, this is going to be pretty brief because we don't really have any features. That's something I would maybe like to see on this top-end Sport Touring model. No vents, no USB ports, no heated rear seats. However, we do still have a nice fold-down center armrest with 2 cup holders inside. If you take a look at the door trim, the one thing I want to point out about this is that it is hard touch on the upper part as compared to soft touch in the front. But overall, the materials are very good for a door trim in this segment, and we also have some storage down in the bottom. And now let's check out the cargo area. Now, before we even, get into the numbers themselves, I do want to point out Honda says that the hybrid system does not compromise cargo capacity. So we're very happy to, tell you that you're not going to lose out on 5 cubic feet of cargo capacity just because you choose the hybrid. So you're going to retain a very large cargo figure for this segment. About 14.8 cubic feet is what you can expect out of the sedan models. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, there is the hatchback hatchback variety. That's going to add a lot more practicality. So for those of you that are looking to maybe haul some things, it's going to be about 24.5 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, and you can fold it down to get even more. So really quite a few choices when it comes to that. I do want to point out 60/40 split folding rear seats. If we lift up the cargo floor, underneath of here, you will notice that we are not going to have a spare tire, so that is something that I do want to point out that a lot of you guys are going to be looking for. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the new Honda Civic Hybrid. Of course, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, and we're very excited to show you what this vehicle is all about, including getting things like our sound level reading. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration. Nice.
All right. Got a spiffy little takeoff there with this Civic Hybrid, the most powerful Civic besides for the Type R. So obviously, this being a hybrid powertrain, one of the first things you're going to notice is the electric torque off of the line. So you do have that on board. Of course, we're not going to be giving you a full 0 to 60 right now. We're in downtown Montreal, so that would be very irresponsible, and we would certainly not do anything like that. But like I said, that gives you a good taste of just the quickness off the line with the instantaneous torque from the two-motor hybrid system. So to review what we have talked about already, this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It's combined with 2 electric motors. Total system power is 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. So those are both very good figures.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that you're going to notice the most. And what we've said in past, this vehicle's competition, like a Corolla hybrid review, is that, for a small vehicle like this, to have that electric torque right off the line, it does feel very refreshing. It makes it feel a lot more punchy. And compared to the previous 1.5 liter that this engine configuration is essentially replacing, I think this feels a lot better.
Of course, as a hybrid model, the gasoline engine will not be on a lot of the time. So as you just kind of gently take off from stoplights and city environments like we're in right now, you won't have the engine on at all, and you'll just be operating exclusively on the electric power of the system. And then, of course, when the engine does turn on, the big thing that I've always really liked about Honda's two-motor hybrid system, and it definitely continues for the Civic as well, is just how smooth it is.
Yeah.
They do a tremendous job of really blending in the switchover between the gas power and the electric power. So it's not something you're going to notice. If you have the radio off and everything, you might hear the switchover just a little bit, but other than that, you're certainly not going to feel it. And I'm pretty sure if you put on a little music or something, you're not going to notice it at all.
Yeah, it's a very impressive setup. Now, of course, we're going to be talking a lot about the hybrid system here in this test drive, but that's not the only way that you can get this Civic. As a matter of fact, the LX and Sport trim levels are going to come standard with a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Just like before, it does make slightly less horsepower for 2025, though, so do be aware it's 150 horsepower, 133 pound-feet of torque. So it's down a couple horsepower, down a little bit of torque as well. In practice, I don't imagine that's going to equate to a huge difference. However, what I will point out is that it does allow you to get better fuel economy, which I'll talk about in just a second. All right, there's another little sample.
Another little sample there. Let's talk a little bit about,
we are doing the best we can here.
We don't have a lot of time, and we are just like right in the heart of downtown. So
we know this is not ideal.
And we are very unfamiliar with the area. We have never been to Canada at all, so it's a first for everything here. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about the transmission. So the hybrid is going to have a version of a eCVT in essence. If you get the regular 2-liter, it's going to come with a traditional CVT. overall, like I said, very responsive. Everything just works together so nicely with Honda's two-motor hybrid system. That's really the main takeaway. You don't feel like weird lags or awkward transitions or anything like that, even if you just kind of suddenly, oh, there, I punched it real hard. All of a sudden, nothing weird goes on at all. It just does what you need it to do.
Yeah. I do also want to point out, if you choose those base trim levels, you're going to have a traditional CVT. And as far as your power being routed to the ground, I do want to point out Honda has not added all-wheel drive, so that is an important distinction over some of the competition that does offer all-wheel drive. You'll continue to be front-wheel drive exclusive with this Civic.
And one more thing I do want to mention about the transmission situation. You might remember that the hatchback, you could get a manual transmission in some of the versions, but just be aware that that's not available anymore because you don't have the 1.5 turbo. That whole combination is now eliminated.
Yeah. And as far as your ride quality, just kind of cruising down along the road here, I have to say the ride quality is quite good. We've been over a lot of, rougher city surfaces here in Canada. And the thing I just want to point out is that this vehicle does have definitely a very sporty characteristic to it. But the important thing is that the ride quality itself is very good. Even despite having the largest 18-inch alloy wheels, when you hit a bump, there is a pretty small amount of intrusion inside the cabin, and these seats I find to be very, very comfortable. And here's a great example of that rough downtown surface. Yeah, I think it's handling it really well. I don't see a huge difference, between this and the pre-refresh model, which I think certainly is a good thing. We've been in the Civic a bunch of times at this point, and having that good ride quality balance and also a little sporty flair is part of what makes the Civic so good.
Now, of course, we don't have any real curvy roads to get on or anything, but we do have increased rigidity this year, so in terms of the feel, you continue to have just a really agile feel with the Civic. I always have loved the way that Honda has tuned this vehicle to just really always give it kind of that sporty flair, and you can tell that you have a little bit of those Type R bones even in your mainstream Civic and your hybrid model. Yeah, check this out. Yeah, definitely we're cornering very flat as we go around this corner here. Yeah, definitely like that feel.
Now, as we mentioned a couple times at this point, we are in downtown Montreal. So one thing I do want to point out is that our sound level reading unfortunately can't be done because we're not going to be able to get up to 55 miles per hour in any of this type of environment. However, do stay tuned to the channel because we will be, of course, doing a ton more content on this Honda Civic. The hybrid model, we look forward to maybe having it for a full week for extensive testing where we can really get all of those most up-to-date things for you guys, including a sound level reading on our home stretch of Kentucky roads. But you've been waiting for the fuel economy figure of this hybrid Civic because that's, of course, incredibly important. And the thing I'm very happy to tell you is that it comes in at 49 miles per gallon combined. So 50 in the city, 47 highway, 49 combined. Now, this has been something that you guys have been requesting for years. We see it in the comment section. Every Civic that we would review, they're like, bring the hybrid, bring the hybrid, bring the hybrid. And Honda has finally listened. So we're definitely happy to see that they're giving you a hybrid with really good fuel economy now as over half the trim levels as standard equipment.
Right. And that's a perfect transition to our Slam Dunk and Airball because it's really both related to the hybrid system. So the Slam Dunk is that they have finally listened to the customers and added that hybrid. It's a big jump in fuel economy over the already efficient gasoline model. And you don't have to spend a lot of extra money to get the hybrid system. As we discussed, it's also very nice to drive out on the road, and there's really just a lot to love about that. So that is the Slam Dunk. Now, the Airball is going to be the fuel economy. So it's not that the fuel economy is bad. Certainly 49 is a great number, but simultaneously, the bigger Honda Accord has a very similar fuel economy to this. You are going to get better fuel economy from a Corolla hybrid. Actually, some versions of the Camry hybrid will also get better fuel economy. So we kind of wanted this number to be greater than 50, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case with this new hybrid model.
Yeah. Now, in terms of fuel economy for the other two trim levels, you're probably also curious about that. I mentioned it got better fuel economy for 2025, so this is important to consider. LX is coming in at 36 miles a gallon combined, and the Sport trim level 34 mpg. So if you're looking Sport gas to Sport hybrid, you are looking at a 15 mile per gallon delta. So I certainly would recommend getting the hybrid. Plus, you're also going to get quite a bit more power on board in addition to the better fuel economy. And wrapping things up, let's talk about the warranty. You're going to have a 3-year 36,000 mile basic warranty, a 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty. Honda does also include 2 years of complimentary maintenance, so that's definitely something worth considering. And now let's talk pricing and availability. So, pricing first. I'm very happy to tell you that this Honda Civic for 2025 has not really raised much in terms of pricing at all. The LX model is going to go up only around $300, so that's now starting at $24,250. Sport is $26,250. Sport Hybrid $28,750, and Sport Touring Hybrid, as you've seen today, $31,750. So that's actually coming in, if you watched our first look review, it's actually coming in a little bit cheaper than what we had expected for this model actually. And if you're looking to buy a Honda Civic Hybrid or any new vehicle, I would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because there's a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And let's go ahead and talk about availability if you're looking to buy one of these 25 Civics. So the really great news is that this is going on sale on June the 12th for the LX and Sport grade. So that's the gasoline version of this vehicle. Now, if you want the hybrid, that will go on sale a week later, June 19th of 2024. I do want to point out, if you're looking for a hatchback model, that's going to be a little bit later this summer when that becomes available. But guys, that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the refreshed 2025 Honda Civic in its hybrid configuration. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get more car content like this, you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun on this channel that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.